Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, finally we end up seeing some red, a little bit of a sell-off, more on the Qs. Obviously, very strange day to day because even before lunch, you had IWM up 1%. The Dow Jones Transportation was up like 0.8%. The Dow Jones was barely down like 0.2. S&P down about 0.3, and then their Qs were getting crushed because of the semi stocks. Because they had multiple news articles come out or information come out. One being an earnings that was either accidentally released early or on purpose, but I still haven't found out because I've seen two different articles say two different things on this, but it don't matter because I'll show you which one it was. But, let's be honest. I mean, who knows if this will continue into tomorrow. There'll be any kind of continuation from the bears, but this is well overdue. Don't forget, we're in the worst 2 months, really, two of the worst months of the year for the market. And if I told you in January that the S&P will be up 2.5% in September, up going into the day almost over 2% for October, you would have said there's no way, right? You would have said, no, that's November, December, right? And I've been very clear about how I feel about it. I just want a good setup for a year-end rally. That's what I want. So, do what we got to do, trade sideways, sell down some, get some good entries to go into year-end. That's what I want. I'll make sure that's secured. And so, let me know, what you think about all that. But that's, this was well overdue. Okay, and we'll see if the bears can continue it. We'll go over some levels, some charts. We'll talk about what semis down and if you're buying or not. But of course, I always like to update you and say, hey, look, manufacturing data, garbage. Okay, still terrible. This is the U.S. Empire manufacturing data. You can tell it's probably the worst of all of them, honestly. It's been a contraction for so long, it ain't even funny. Okay, new orders down, employment down, you name it, all down. Okay, except for prices were up. Okay. Now, when you look at the sell-off today, it wasn't really that big of a sell-off. Let's say it really was the Qs, right? The Nasdaq. You see a lot of green right there, and then here's the red, right? Stocks got crushed. Even energy was down. XLK, healthcare, cyber, all that good stuff. The Mag 7 wasn't that bad off. Matter of fact, Apple set an all-time new high. Can you believe that? An all-time new high for Apple while Microsoft continues to struggle. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I say, just look at this year. This is the cumulative new all-time highs year to date. S&P has set 46 new all-time highs. Its equal weight ETF has set 23 new all-time highs. Isn't that amazing? I mean, just absolutely amazing. That's the only word I can use. It's just an amazing year right here. And when you look at the S&P, we'll keep all this simple. Finally get an engulfing candle right there. Close that gap, right? Started going to the daily fair value, got mitigated some of it. But if sell-off continues, just look for that trend line around 57.85, be your first level of support. If that breaks, then we got this shaded area, which we set there. And we just traded sideways, consolidated for almost 3 full weeks. And so that should provide support as well if this sell-off does continue down. And so again, watch those two levels right there if it continues to happen. And when we switch up to the Qs, you can see we had a large engulfing candle, filled another gap right there. But again, we talked about 45 being a key level. We did not touch that today. We'll see. That should be a nice level of support. If that breaks, it brings this trend line back into there where there is another gap right there to look at. We pull some fibs down. You can clearly see that blue line would be in the golden pocket if we try to move it from that bottom to the top. And then if we want to go ahead and drag it down to the next level, it'll put that trend line / gap right there also between the golden pocket and the 0.79 fib. So either way, and that's not a very big move down at all. Okay, I know it looks like it is, but it is not in no way, shape, or form. And of course, there's your all-time high if they decide to say forget about it. We're going back up in the last couple weeks of October, which I'm hoping that's not what they do, but you never know with this market, right? Now, when it comes to equal weight ETFs, you can see we're basically testing what used to be the all-time high on RSP. You look at QQEW, it set an all-time high yesterday. Now it's coming back down. Maybe going to test that descending trend line right there, which would be pretty cool bounce right there. Again, if they want to continue this on, it'll just fall right back into that triangle, but we'll see if we get the bounce or not. And obviously, we talked about semis, right? The biggest drop in over a month for semis. And I don't think that's any surprise to me. Some of them were down 5, 6, 7%. And that's how, they're high flyers and they go in both directions. But of course, what did it? A couple things. This one's kind of dumb, but Nvidia retreats from record. U.S. weighs capping firms AI chips exported to some countries. I don't even think that's legal. Do you know if that's legal? I don't know what they're going to station troops outside Nvidia's, office or something, stop them from doing it. I don't know. The biggest one, though, to me was ASML cuts forecast in Q3, earnings published early. And when you look at this, again, we don't know if it's on purpose or not. And so we kind of look through this. You can see they cut 2025 sales forecast and third quarter earnings published early on website, sending its share down with 15%. We expect our 2025 total net sales to grow to a range between 30 to 35 billion euros, which is on the lower half of the range that they provided in 2022. The company's earnings showed net profit of 2.1 billion euros on sales of 7.5 billion euros, slightly ahead of analyst estimates. However, the company's bookings came in at 2.6 billion euros, well below the forecast that had ranged between 4 to 6 billion. And then, of course, just for giggles here, you can see SMCI said today it expects to begin full-scale production of its solutions, which include NVIDIA's new Blackwell AI chips to select customers. It was one of the only ones that was actually green today, believe it or not. But you can see SMH hitting this trend line. That's still nice resistance now. It gives us 2 rejections right there. And when you look at this one, we'll go over here. And maybe we start a channel. We'll have to see. I'm going to pull this over here. We'll see if it heads down to the bottom of that channel or not. Obviously, this will depend on NVIDIA because NVIDIA is its largest holding by a country mile. And then we start just kind of scrolling down. You can see SOX obviously got a rejection on that line a few weeks ago. Not doing much of nothing right here. We'll draw a trend line here. Now we got 3 rejections right there. We'll see again if we still see more weakness or not. We got a lot of earnings coming this week. Don't be surprised. Obviously, one released early. Taiwan coming up this week. Set an all-time new high yesterday. Sold back down. We'll keep this trend line in place. Can see if that continues to stay under pressure. Marvel, I don't ever talk about, and nor do I even chart it. So feel free to talk about that one in the comments. Qualcomm's kind of interesting right here because you can see when the first time when I look at this chart, it looks like an ascending wedge to me right here, and you can see we'll draw a trend line here. It's been hitting this same level. Looks like a breakout and retest actually of this triangle formation. And so we'll see if this level is going to hold right here. If it does, continue to see Qualcomm heading up. Okay, so we'll see if that's going to hold or not. I don't talk about, just look at barcodes to me. MU is still hadn't recovered. Like Taiwan recovered. So many of these others recovered. AMD and MU is still way down there. Speaking of AMD, be really nice to see this one come back down to that trend line where that support is right there. And I believe there's a moving average there as well. That would be really, really nice buying opportunity probably. Let me know what you think about that one. Between like 150, 152, somewhere in there. If it continues to come down, what to see. Again, this one right here, we'll move that trend line out of the way. And it filled that gap to the penny. You can't see it to the left, and then it started selling off ever since. ARM, again, still in this channel right here, came down to the midline of the channel, dropped about almost 7% today. Again, all of them taking hits. This one doesn't report till November. MCI, I don't understand why this one would be green out of all of them, but there it is. They're still just holding this thing up against that trend line right there. And what I believe is a major moving average as well. Intel, I don't talk about, don't even like the company. And the government supports it with my tax dollars, which trying to drive me nuts. But anyway, NVIDIA, we're looking at this one. We talked about these lines, right? So it came down. This hell, like buyers came in quick around that 128 area, push this back up. If it does continue to drop down, obviously that descending trend line, which is right there, the support line as well, around 124, 125, which is where I definitely see a lot of buyers stepping in. If it dropped down to that or not, let me know if you were buying it up. Like a lot of people at 128, and again, 140s up there at that other line, which is all-time highs. So pay attention to that one. Now, TLT, you can see it's 2 days in a row. It's got a bounce. Biggest reason is because, you got the 10-year stalling out. It was red today finally. But even if it just stalls out, TLT can benefit from that, okay? So we'll see if it can get through these moving averages, continue to push down. That's a bonus for TLT or TMF, whichever one you're in. Another one's KRE. You might notice, as I've been telling the members in the morning news brief, these banks reported better earnings, and so are the regional banks. And so once again, I'm going to put a small trend line here, see if it does come down at all. But again, this one right here has been moving up slowly but surely. It's been in this channel forever and ever, it seems like, for months upon months. And so especially once the Fed stepped in and started rescuing banks, that's when this channel started. And so it's just been continuing up. And you would think rate cuts would be good for it, but the earnings are coming in better than expected. Now, again, you might notice Chinese stocks are down. Again, because why? China is not coming out with really any details about what they're going to do for stimulus. And again, the stuff they put out there so far, it sounds great and all, but it's a smittens of what they actually need to do. And so that's what we got to see. And really, I'm just drawing fibs on all these to see, like, okay, that's where it started from. what's going to be enough, right? Is 0.50 going to be enough for a drawdown? Is a golden pocket, 0.382? And all these are at different levels, right? Like Baidu's come down more than any of the rest of them, okay? It's already at the golden pocket, okay? And so they're not all going to come down at the same level. Some are more popular than others. You know, PDD is a very popular one for sure, no doubt about that. And so we draw this one down where it started to move at. Again, it's not even at the 0.50 fib. BABA, obviously, probably the most popular one of this group, especially for the really, really wealthy buyers out there, like your Ray Dalio and all that good stuff. And so you can see this one right at the 0.50 fib, had hit the golden pocket. So is that enough? That's what we're going to find out. And you can't predict if they're going to bring out more stimulus or not. They keep saying they will. Question is, will they actually announce it? Okay, if it comes in, it will come in overnight when we're sleeping, and then you can see a major bounce. Okay, now earnings, these already came out. ASML, don't worry about that. Morgan Stanley be in the morning. More regional banks, so you'll see KRE pump even more if they come out good. Then Alcoa in the afternoon if you follow that one. And really what we'll have on Wednesday is nothing coming out as far as data, as you can see, because everything comes out on Thursday. Okay, so again, no news to drive the market, not really any earnings either. So we'll see how the market wants to rebound or not rebound. And I know a lot of people are expecting a rebound tomorrow and then maybe get another sell-off. We'll have to see. So please hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Feel free to sign up for the membership, which I know a lot of you have. Really appreciate that. Let me know if I can do anything for you, less than the McDonald's combo. And I will see you guys tomorrow.